Hey everybody, Cindy Daychuk here with Queen Bee Creations. Thanks for joining me today. We're going to do a quick little craft, and I'm going to do it based on this season, which is fall. But you can do exactly the same thing for any holiday or any reason. I am using stamps. So I'm going to use the Fruitful Harvest stamp, which is all pumpkins and apples and leaves and things from IOD. But use whatever stamps that you have, and that makes sense for whatever the occasion is that you're doing this. Now, I have just some dollar store watercolor paper. You could just choose to do this on cardstock if you want. All right, I'm going to be coloring in my images with watercolor. You could do it with cardstock and use just any kind of pale paint, or you could use markers or pencil crayons, whatever you prefer. All right, or not even color them, just do them in black and white or stamp in multiple colors. But the first thing that I'm doing is I divided my paper up. I don't know if you guys can see the faint little lines. I just divided it evenly in 4 segments, but I'm gonna make 2 cards. So that long middle line becomes my fold line. All right, so I'm just going to cut straight down the middle for 1 card. This is my line to fold, and that becomes really important. I'm going to pull you in overhead so you can see what I'm talking about, and we're going to get these stamped, let them dry, and then we'll come back and paint. I've chosen a couple of my stamps. Let me just get down to a single page, and what I'm looking at doing is taking my stamp, whatever stamp you have. I'm using for these ones a maple leaf and a pumpkin. And we're going to be stamping them so that they overlap that fold line, so that we've got image above the fold line and below the fold line. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. And I have an ink pad all juiced up with some IOD black permanent ink. And I'm just going to stamp it up. Oh, I missed the tip. I missed the tip of my leaf. So make sure that you get that covered. And then it becomes important, you will see why later, but I want to have some of the image above and some below that dividing line in the middle. So for this stage, all that we're doing is stamping our image. So I'm going to do it next with my pumpkin, and I have an apple and an oak leaf. So I'm going to do 4, and then let these dry, and we'll come back when it's time to paint. I have watercolor brush and some water, and I've got some watercolor paints. This is an old palette from when I painted pumpkins earlier, so it's going to work great for me. And we're just going to add some color to each of our little stamped items. I don't need to have these done perfect. I don't need them to have color everywhere. I'm just looking to add some color on there so it kind of highlights what they are. So for something like this, you want to ensure that you've stamped with a permanent ink so that when you add, like for this, because I'm doing watercolor, I don't want my watercolor to then start causing all of my ink to run and smudge. Just wouldn't be good. But instead of doing this section that I'm doing with watercolor, you could certainly choose to use, you know, again, markers or some pencil crayons to color it in. You could opt to just leave it on its own and without any color. I'm gonna now dip into a little bit of a green. I just like the contrast so that it's just not straight orange. And we can just add a little bit of it here and there. Ooh, I don't know what that is, but let's get that fibery thing off. What I don't want is to get this too wet, just because I don't want the card itself to do a lot of buckling. So usually when we're doing a watercolor, and now I'm going into brown because I want a little bit of brown on the stem. Whoa, that's a lot of brown. So usually when we're doing watercolor, we've taped down our paper so that we have prevented the paper from curling up too much. I don't have this taped down because I want to be moving on to the other cards. And you can see I'm just adding a little bit of brown to the base to add a little bit of shadowing and dimension here and there. And then I think I'm good. This doesn't have to be it's not like it's a major piece of art. And we need to set that one off to the side. And then we need to pull over our next one and get started on it. Once your design is dry, I have a little baby cutting mat under there. I can't find my big one right now. Things move around. What I want to do is I want to start cutting around the upper half of my design from my halfway point up. So I do not want to cut here. I want to be able to fold here. So I deliberately had left space on either side of my pattern, of my design, so that I could have that fold. And I'm just going to carefully work my way around my image. And this is also why I selected, let me just try and get it so I stay on the cutting mat here, why I selected images that were easy enough for me to cut around. You can go more complicated if you'd like. Time with that one little spot there. There we go. It's just a little piece. So it's releasing that top half. What we can do then is we can now fold our design in half, because I don't want to fold that, but I do want to fold it right there. And what I can do is trim this off if I'd like, or I could stamp somebody's name if I want to use these as place cards, but I just like cutting it to even it out, right? See how my fold isn't exactly perfect. So I'll even that out and square off the edges, and then I'll leave this available. So I could use them as place cards and be able to put anybody's name in, or I could use it just as a sentiment card. I could put, happy fall, whatever it is that I want to say to somebody. So I tend to leave them blank until I need them for a purpose, and then I have them available. So let me go and get the rest done and square it off, and then I'll show you what they look like. So these are the little cards I made with the little apple, the maple leaf, the oak leaf, and you saw the pumpkin. Super cute. I love the kind of the pop-up effect of these. I think that it just kind of makes it more than anything else. But think beyond. I mean, this is one stamp from IOD. If you're an aficionado of stamps and things, you have tons of stamps. in your collection, and you can make these little cards with any stamp. You can also make them any size. So if you've got smaller mini kind of stamps, think about doing little foldable gift tags. Be super cute on your presents with little sprigs of holly or little snowman or something like that, and have them sitting up and popping out, and be able to open it up and have the to and from on the inside. So not just cards, but done on a slightly smaller scale. You can make them into place cards for your holiday table. You could make them into gift tags and gift cards. So many possibilities, and certainly they could be done for any season. Let me know what you think of these ones, guys. Just a quick kind of fun little activity that, you're just using paper. You're just using paper and a little bit of paint or markers or something to add a little bit of color. I like it with the watercolor paper, and I'm just using the cheap stuff from the dollar store, so it's not a big deal. Love to hear from you as always, and I certainly look forward to seeing you on the next one. Until then, take care.